All right. So, as you may have seen by the title, I want to take a look at and encourage those who are not aware of this and those who are aware concerning the wireless network, actually, what all this really is. I'm not an authority on this subject, that's for sure, but I do know enough of it to bring it to the attention of those who see the significance of guarding themselves in regard to this. It's a it's quite the rabbit hole. Now, before I get into any of that, I'm being distracted a little bit here because I have a latency taking place within the system. It's the first time I noticed it since yesterday. Um, I didn't have it before. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but anyhow, um, yeah, I had the last stream that I did was concerning community. Really, is what it was. It was about accountability. Ultimately, is what it's about. It's accountability that we have in order to be able to work with one another for the betterment of all. And I had mentioned that when I was in the church, we would work with other congregations. I was in Christianity for 27 years. I wasn't in one place. Within that 27 years, I was abroad, so to speak. It's a long story. 27 years is a long story. So, no point trying to summarize that. I'm just saying that when there was agreement made to work for the betterment of community, other churches got together and they just started working with one another. And they did it with joy and they did it with love. They did it without judgment or biasness. You know, it wasn't like, look at me, look at me. We have it all going on. We're the smarter ones, you know. I mean, honestly, this online experience for me, I'm not going to go down this road, but I'm just saying this online experience is the antithesis of what I experienced in the real world. If I had spent 14 years, I know I've said this several times, but it's just so true. If I had spent as much time within the last 14 years that I have on this channel and online, period, uh, things would have taken place, you know, 12 years ago. You know, it's just been creeping along and creeping along. It's really just kind of, the word frustrating doesn't even come into the picture. There's certain things that after a certain point within, at least from my perspective, okay, maybe I'm just different from everybody else, but based on my experience and my perspective and what I expect of myself and what I have experienced with groups of people, that their word was their word and their word was extremely valuable, meaning they said what they were going to do. They meant what they said, and they followed through on it. It wasn't a matter of question. The word was given. Okay, now it's set in stone, so to speak. To have that concrete reliance on one another in that way, it's just. I thought it to be, this is just the way it should be. And it was, in most cases. Anybody that stepped up, if their yes was yes, it was yes, right? If it was no, it was no. Fine. Perfect. Perfect. But this online thing, the accountability, and those people that are in leadership, when I first came on uh, 14 years ago, I try to connect with certain individuals. I mentioned all this before, but I'm prefacing this because I wanted just to put a cap on actually what I meant when I posted what I posted within the community post. Okay, so when I came on early on from the first year, I tried to contact certain individuals and I got nothing from them. The majority, I got nothing from them. Okay, and it wasn't really anything other than it was important for me to ask them certain things, such as asking permission, proper etiquette, behavior, asking permission for certain things, that had to do with them. And I gave them, an easy response. yes or no. I kept it really simple and short so that it would be easy. They could see it within a sentence and then they can go with it. And I got nothing from them, and except for two people, and that was Judy Cowley and Scott Lemriel. All the rest of them, you know, apparently, I was not that important to pay attention to, which is very interesting because within the musical community, I see people that are well known, like Steve Vai, and Steve Vai, you know, big name within certain circles. Some of you may have heard his name. Played with David Lee Roth, played with Frank Zappa. It's a long story. Steve Vai is very well known in the musical community. Okay, he's a he's a big guy, so you could say that. As far as he's well known, he's worldwide name. Somebody has a channel that has like 300 subscribers or less, whatever it may be. Steve shows up for the interview and he treats those people the same as he treats anybody else. Isn't that interesting? And those who are in the spiritual community supposed to be a representative of that behavior, that character, and demonstrating that character and integrity. Yeah, I've kind of went a lot throughout these 14 years. Okay. So what I'm attempting to do, I'm looking to do at this point, I can't do all this myself. I don't want to do it all myself. I just want to do my thing, and I'm willing to cooperate with everybody involved and work together truly as a community, because that's really was my intention from the very beginning. If you go back to my earliest videos, this is what I'm saying. Okay? I don't know if I deleted a lot of stuff on this channel, okay? Anyhow, putting that aside, what I'm saying is, let me clarify what I've been trying to do and what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that everybody needs to be accountable. What you know to do, if you know how to contact any of these individuals, I don't care if they know you or not. Contact anybody and let them know we need, if I need to put together just a sentence that you can copy and paste to email them, as long as you agree with it, okay, do that. Do it 3 times. If you don't hear back from them the first time, if you don't hear back from them for the second time, if you don't hear back for them after the second time, email them one more time. And then stop, quit, okay, after that. So you let me know if you would like for me to do that, if you're willing to do this. Contacting people so we can come together and start working together instead of being within our own little bubbles where we're hardly getting anything done. I've been shadow banned and everything else on this channel. Okay? I have a great deal on this channel. I have a great deal of diversity and authenticity expressed in this channel that I don't see anywhere else. What does that mean? It means that each one of us has something to give that's unique. That's what's so important. One of the things that's so important about us coming together, because we make up the whole. Hey, Zach. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Tom. Thank you for showing up. Okay. All right, so that's out of the way. Let me know what I just said there. I'll come up with a paragraph or something simple but to the point to be shared with whoever. Again, I want to hit the big guys and big gals, okay? But also want to be able to hit all the unknowns, the people that are doing the work in secret. I already have a couple individuals that contacted me that have been doing things in secret, and they want to come up and they want to, co-create with me. Everybody has a lot of reasons why they're not out in front. And I don't want to be out in front, so I understand that. Okay. But all the little guys, all the big guys, everybody, because everybody's needs to be treated equal and needs to be lifted up and encouraged. Okay. And the only way that's going to be really effective if we all come together and put aside the idea of brand, which is, I find absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I'm just going to call it for what it is, as far as I'm concerned. Put aside the idea of brand. Put aside the idea of ego. It's like, well, I have the ego with accomplishments. I write books. I've written books. I'm well named. I'm well known with an exopolitics and all this other stuff. Well, good. Great. That means you can actually be more effective. But we need to step out of our bubbles and say, this is my thing. And because it's, again, to emphasize, it's been competitive. It's been dismissive of all these other people that are doing things because those people are not doing exactly what you're doing. I don't want people to do exactly what I'm doing. Nobody should want that, because what you have is unique, okay? It's individuated, but it needs to be respected, and it needs to be encouraged, and it needs to be uplifted. What I'm saying is that we need to step out of our bubble so that we can, within humility, get into the gutter if necessary and serve. When I was in Christianity, it was about the lowly people that are dirty and in the gutter and everything else. And like I mentioned before, that need their ass wiped because they shit themselves. I have no problem of doing that, cleaning people up and doing whatever I can. I love that. I love to be able to do that. I feel such compassion. It overwhelms me sometimes. I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just saying we need to step off the podium and step down where it belongs in regard to service. He that is greater, let him be lowest. Because when you have a great sense of awareness, you have a great heart, and you understand the significance. Those who are listening to the sound of my voice, you understand what I mean by that, for those who are sensitive enough to know what I'm saying. So we need to make one another accountable. For those that are in a position that have this awareness and have this known, have the experience, and that they're in the limelights, quote unquote, they're more accountable. When I was in ministry, I didn't care for the idea of having a station, being called a pastor or whatever. I didn't like it because I understood the responsibility of that. And I was just like, I'm still working on myself, man. And I still am. But I've gained enough wisdom throughout the years to know what is expedient and what is not. And it may come forth as admonishment, and so be it. Because the spiritual communities or the spiritual movement that I find within this world needs admonished. Leadership needs admonished. They need to be corrected in the right way. Everything needs to be done in the right way. And what I'm doing, I don't want to sound like I'm babbling here, right? But the passion, the compassion, it's in love. There's different expressions of love here, obviously, as we all well know. I am not interested in telling people what to do. I'm just interested in bringing things to individuals' attention so that we start acting. That we feel the conviction. We go, yeah, that's right. Because it's so easy for myself. I have to remind myself all the time. I have to renew my mind and get back on track. And when you get busy and you've got all this adulation and everything coming at you, you're the greatest since sliced bread. You start, that becomes like your motivation. It's, and I don't want to go any further with this because I will, and I'll probably regret what I would next say. But we need to be reminded, and we need to be accountable, and especially those in the leadership. Okay, they have the opportunity. Those who have a strong platform to be able to bring people together. But we're all equal, and it all needs to be included. So let's create a community, shall we? Let's do what we are supposed to do within this time frame right now. It's not about belief system. It's not about what's right or wrong, quote unquote. It's about love. and working through that. They will know you by the love that you have for one another. They will know you by the love that you have for one another. You heard that before, right? Love opens the door. For those who may study chelantic science, you know what it all boils down to? That one phrase. Love opens the door. It's not techniques. It's not singing. It's not anything. It's your intention. It's actuated energy, that intention being love. That's your doorway back. That creates the open doorway, the swinging doorway, so to speak. It's your access because you have been the love that has always been. It's really that simple. At the same time, it's a bit complex because people overlook that. All right, so I was going to talk about, I'm just going to refer to this. I will post a summary of this that I kind of put together really quick through a particular resource in regard to, WBAN, which is wireless or wide body area network, and looking at the terahertz that is used, looking at the body, how it affects the body specifically, because we're talking about body. Why is it called body area network? Okay. We're talking about the wireless technology, obviously. So what does this affect? So let's look at the band, okay, hertz band. So 802.15.6 equals the human biofield, actually. This is why they're able to route through us, okay? The reason for me putting together this PDF, I'm going to post it in Patreon, is so that you can refer to this, and if you're wanting to know more about it, and I think you should know more about this, then you're able to take some of these keywords and do further research, and you're going to be quite blown away, okay? So the body parts that's affected is our thymus gland. The thymus gland is where the azare resides. That's where the taurin resides, okay? And for those who have been following along in regard to our multidimensional anatomy study, you realize that the monad, the azare, and taurin is the triunity heart of our multidimensional anatomy. So the thymus gland, our bone marrow, our lymph nodes, our blood vessels, our spleen, our skin, which is the largest organ of the body, all affected, which makes up our immune system. Our DNA signature is used because everybody has a very specific frequency. Everything does, okay? Our DNA signature is used like that of an IP address, And we're talking about frequency, of course, again, that everything has a unique frequency band, so it's accessed and located through that frequency band. In other words, they're hacking into us. And if you look at the three-tier aspect of the wireless network, too many syllables, you can see this very clearly. I mean, you just do your research. Again, I'm going to make this available on Patreon. I'll just make it available to the public so everybody can get access to it. It's just a summary and a guideline. But before I continue with this, I want to ask anybody that knows anything about wireless tissue engineering. And nobody knows anything about wireless tissue engineering? you probably, I'm sure you're not going to find that name out in the internet unless you go down, you know, some deep paths. Um, okay, so yes, Kimberly has heard of that. Cool. Um, all right, so interestingly enough, this thing here, because of the because of the AI being introduced now, the algorithms have become extremely complicated, and it's self-learning. Even on the most uh, cheap things such as this that I have here, you can't really see it very well. Put it right there. There you go. It's quite small, and it's technically a smartphone. It's not 5G. I will not have 5G. I will not have 5G. I don't even want that. I'd rather throw that against the wall. But what I was looking to do is record some responses from the AI based on uh, asking certain particular questions in relationship to the word cell being incorporated into cell phone or cellular. We know it. We know that part of the origin of that is in reference to biological cells. But I run across some really interesting responses that kind of goes behind the scenes, and I actually phrased it the same way just to have it come back up again, and I had it come up twice the same way, which I wanted to use. However, I didn't record it. I was going to turn on the video cam and record me doing this. I thought to do that, and I didn't do that, and it was a big mistake because the the AI response changed up, and it basically, for lack of terms, it diverted from what I was asking and changed the answer. It wouldn't. I couldn't go back to the original answer, and I got basically three answers that were clearly what I was looking for, but I couldn't access them again using the same phrasing within the question. Exact same phrasing. Uh, but I could use the exact same phrasing for something that it would give me as an alternative, and kept giving me the alternative, which was the contemporary bullshit answer. And that kept coming up. But the other stuff I couldn't access anymore, and which is disappointing that I wasn't able to. I should have recorded that. That's my bad. But there's a huge ruse going on with all this stuff to cover things up. In a nutshell, your DNA code, your IP address is being accessed, okay? And they're logging into you, okay? I had a drone not too long ago. Well, I've seen some of them around, and people own drones and all this other stuff. But I've seen particular type of drones only a couple times that had a very specific objective. I was outside. This goes back some months, and I went outside and I was walking around, and I had a violin I just got done repairing, and I was tinkering around on that, and this drone came out of nowhere, and it came right to my place. It came right to my place and stopped right over me. And this is in relationship to the recent activity with drones in New Jersey. They harness this wireless tech, like for the drone. There's a particular type of drone. I don't know if this was the same type of drone, but it had a very specific objective. It wasn't just pittering around. It went directly to where I was at. Anyhow, I'll get back to the type of drone. I think it's called a Q9. Oh, I have to look it up, but let me see if I can. Never mind. I'll find it. I have it written down here somewhere. Give me a second here, would you? Yeah. Anyhow, so I can't. It doesn't matter. I have it actually. I have it within the PDF. So anyhow, they're able to fit these drones with these sensors, and then it's manned from a web portal. And what they're doing is they're hacking into your biofield. And what does that mean? Well, I just mentioned the idea of how what it affects, you know, this wireless network, how it affects, because your body is basically the data is being routed through you. Okay, you're being used as a commodity. Okay, and here's the nefarious aspect of this: they can go in and they can hack you, and they can log in and they can program your DNA fundamentally, basically that what they can do. They're able to do that. And because of AI, they can sort through vast amount of information, data, and it's from what I could see. This has been taking place since 1995, I guess. So commercially, this has been made available for like 20 years, I guess, something like that. Anyhow, so is anybody familiar with this? So there's a lady who's deep into this. Um, so scary. Yeah, that's trying to think of her. Yeah, I know of that person that you're talking about. I can't remember her name. I'm lucky if I can remember my own name today. I'm not doing all that well today, honestly, folks. Yeah. That the algorithm, because it's learning, it's self-learning, and there's certain keywords and certain things that is being asked that it recognizes what you're doing is, listen, okay, no, let's block them. Let's keep that person from going down, accessing that information. And there has been a process I've noticed. There, yeah, um, Sabrina Wallace. Okay, yeah, Sabrina Wallace. Yeah, she was a victim of the Montauk, thing as well. So she's got a long history, apparently, in regard to the families, so to speak. Rothschilds and so on and so forth. Um, yeah, pretty crazy stuff, and this kind of goes back to the electric wars. It's nothing new, that's for sure. It was just something repeating itself over and over again. So what's the reason for me bringing this up, really? The main reason for bringing it up is being able to protect yourself, being able to be aware, realize that you have the ability to be able to command things to stop. You have to be confident in what you're doing, and you have to hold the strength to be able to do it within you. Um, so, whatever practices that you can do to keep yourself up and confident of what you do. So, it's about, again, the idea of knowing something and believing something is two different things. Knowing is confidence and assurity, right? Believing is like, I don't know, right? So, being confident and knowing that you hold within you the master command code. All right, remember that. And I was going to say something else, but I'll just end up digressing too much. Yeah, well, like I said, I put it in a PDF form. It'll be in Patreon. It's just a summary, okay, of terms that you can, if you want to go. I would encourage people to go and research it and go down that rabbit hole enough to get a clear understanding of what's happening, so that you can share it and communicate it up to a point, you know, for those who may be interested. Seems like more people are becoming more interested in what's been going on, and why they're thinking the way that they're thinking, why they feel the way that they feel. You know, I've experienced what I believe to be, you know, voice to skull or God voice to skull technology. That's not the same thing, but it may be the same thing. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. It seems to me that it could very well be the same thing because we're talking about hacking your biofield, therefore having access to everything, even to the point where they can access your dreams. So if they can access your dreams, they can go and rewrite the code if you allow it. If you're not aware of what's going on, I've heard things within my field that I could tell that it wasn't organic for sure. It was synthetic voices and stuff. I mean, I commonly well, not so much here lately, but it was like a common thing for me to hear stuff. I usually would ignore most of it unless it was something that I recognized. You know, I know when I'm being spoken to for those who are overseeing me, okay, for those who are out for my benefit, that are on the other side, so to speak, okay, and that which is not. And even that which is within this field that is just chattering at me, and I just refuse to listen to it because there's nothing I can do about it, you know. And I ignore a lot of other things because I ignore as well for the obvious reasons, which I'll make mention right now. The obvious reasons for me is that I know that certain entities easily mimic other people. They do it all the time. They do it within the world as it is. You see that with skinwalkers or whatever you want to call it, different entities or different embodied aspects, you know. Well, they'll mimic someone's voice. They'll mimic somebody that you know. They'll mimic you because, well, I don't want to go down the spiritual warfare aspect and because that'll take too long, and that's really not the subject of this. However, it kind of is. Okay. Well, Sylvia, like I'd mentioned, I'll just mention this again one more time. I put together this. Actually, I was going to go through it within this stream, but I'm always open for things shifting and just kind of going with that. But just to let everybody know, if you want to go down that, uh, um, you know, information conduit, you're going to need certain terms and you're going to need certain specific information, especially if you're going online. If you're using your phone, good luck. You know, I find it to be much more effective if you can use the computer. You can go through a lot of backdoors, you know, and you can find specific things. So you need really specific. And then again, even if you have certain things come up with very specific information that you're asking or looking for, remember be discerning. Be discerning because there's a whole lot of what I've noticed, and I was going to mention this earlier, and I've noticed this over the years that a lot of information has been taken and pulled off, and other information has been put on there in the replace of it. In some cases, it's sort of close enough, but it's close enough to the idea of what you were originally looking for, but it's twisted. It holds enough truth in it, but it's not truthful. It's an old tactic, okay? Having enough truth to hold interest and not to have suspicion to arise within the situation. It's very clever, okay? All right, so be discerning with that, and know that all this stuff, if using a wireless system, and if you look at the three tier aspect of that, you can see yourself being used as a commodity, literally. If you do enough research on this, and I've seen imagery and everything else that's like symbols that are used, and even within the location in the body, it kind of reminded me of the J Jehovian seal locations. It's just I mean, you know, it's targeting our major organs number one. And the first thing on the list is your thymus gland. That's a huge thing, as I just mentioned. Okay? It's a huge thing because that's it's your beacon. That's your connecting point. The eighth dimensional consciousness is moving in respect to the body, is coming through the back of the head and through the seventh dimensional aspect, in through the sixth dimensional aspect, through the throat chakra, and into the thymus gland, which is the azare, and the taurin sits in the center of that. And the taurin is the center of your anatomy. Okay? So this is a huge thing. It really is. It's a huge thing. So it's important. I mean, if I could, I'm going to digress here a bit, but if I could, I'd just soon throw this against the wall. I'd just soon smash it. And as soon as I can get rid of it, it's gone. And unfortunately, I'll just make mention that when I was in the church, I started looking at eschatology at the age of 23. Eschatology means this within that field. It means the study of latter times. In other words, certain cycle. It's referred to the end times. Okay, but I started studying that back when I was 23 years old. So I'm 64 now. Gives you an idea. So I've been looking at the New World Order for a very long time. And I've been looking at certain things that have to be set into motion in order to bring things under that control, It's been coming in and out because they didn't have the technology set in motion and have everybody depending on it in order for it to reach the next level. This is one of the reasons, and because now that it is, everybody's attached to this, and they're all part of the wireless network. Okay, which is logging in and using your body. Why do you think it's called? Seriously, if it's in the title, a lot of stuff is hidden. Okay, but at the same time, you can see and you can read between the lines. It's pretty much out there as well. Like, it's wireless body area network. And if you look at the 3-tier aspect of the wireless network, what is the first tier? The body. It's not figurative, it's literal. Do the research. Like I said, I'll post this summary so you can have keywords and understand, certain things that's behind this, who's orchestrating or what's part of it and all this other stuff. But you need to know this. You really do. You need to know this, because what I've noticed over the years here is that there's been this ongoing trance state. And now it makes much more sense to me. I knew there was stuff going on, I didn't know exactly how it was done. But now it's a lot much more clearer in regard to what that is. So a lot of people are kind of like Mr. Smiths, trying to be funny here. You know who Mr. Smith is, right? I'm just saying. Mr. Smith is the character that you find within the movie The Matrix. And the people that are in The Matrix, the Mr. Smith program can enter into any of those individuals that are in the Matrix and become Mr. Smith. And I've seen quite a bit of that, which I go, this is really ironic. The truth is, it's not really. People being accessed, I mean, this goes back quite a ways, really. And you go back to 1950, you see implantation occurring in order for this manipulation and control. If you think of the Manchurian Candidate, was that just a psychological thing that was done, or was there an implantation of that and then triggering that person through the program that's already resident within them? And over a period of time, they've been uh, conforming to that program. And so initiating the program, which how's that done? It seems to me that's done remotely. So I mean, the use of electronic technology and the awareness of how things actually work in this way is not something that's been in the public eye here within contemporary world that we've been in for very long, but it's certainly been utilized for a long time, you know, much longer than probably you know, would like to believe. So, if we look at Bluetooth or anything else, we're talking about, biowarfare. It's the same system for biowarfare. From Australia. Good to have you here. I never know what to call your brother or sister, anybody. Sorry unless it's really obvious to me. I have to apologize for that. But the internet's weird, and I make mistakes all the time. And a lot of times I won't say anything. I kind of want to say brother or sister, but sometimes I'm not sure. So my apologies. If I don't. Plus I have a hard time sometimes seeing your name, and it takes a while for me to get it. The writing is in white caption, so it's on a black screen for me, so it makes it easier for me to read that. But the names are all in gray, and so I have sometimes I have a hard time seeing what the name is. Kimberly, I have no idea what that is. We don't have to speak in code here. Hardly anybody watches what I do, except for the folks behind this. Apparently, they've been harassing me, and I don't really care what they think or not think. So anyhow, yeah. Oh, no, I got it. I finally got your thing. What you did? Bite, bite, bite. Okay. Yeah, it took a while for me to figure out what you were saying there. Anyhow, I'm up. Like I said, I'll make this available in Patreon. Anyhow, is anybody want to discuss anything else? I'm going to kind of go away from this. We can come back to this some other time or something like that. Again, a lot of this stuff probably would be best communicated in private and stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, gosh, dog. This can bring up a lot of things, and I'd rather not go any further than this with this because it becomes extremely negative, and that energy starts to come around you and everything else. When it's that's the reason why I rather like most of the time I usually like putting things in a PDF format or something like that. Then once everybody's kind of on the same thing, we can discuss it and find a solution and encouragement, and then move on from the thing, because long distance, at least the way I'm just really sensitive to energy, and I notice how things will shift, um, and I prefer not to spend any more time on it. That's because trust me, it does go down a huge rabbit hole in different agendas and programs that are been played out, and we're talking about a zombie apocalypse and everything else. It's just crazy, crazy insanity. So I just like, no, no. I'll only go so far with things. It's like, okay, we're done with that, you know, and then provide solutions. It's really all about solutions. Having the knowledge and awareness of really what is enough to know what is going on so we can protect ourselves and protect one another. Seriously. I mean, prayer, right? Huge thing. Being within intercession for one another, again, goes back to the community thing. The community thing is just not doing the physical, and that's the mundane stuff. But it's being behind the scenes and within prayer and within unification and support and all these other things. Very, very, very extremely important. The most important aspect of it, really, I would say, would be that. So, yeah. Yeah, so let's not dwell on any more of that. I just wanted to bring it up, to bring it to people's attention, and like I said, provide that little summary type of thing that I'll make available to the public and Patreon so that people can, you know, use it. Okay? That's that's pretty much it. All right. Yeah, we just need I just all this stuff really is just obstacles, honestly. The simpler way to look at it is what's an obstacle. Certainly, it's an obstacle. So let's just find a way around the obstacle. So that's really the focus, At least for me, that let's keep it simple, Maybe that's not such a simple thing to do, but it at least gives you direction. One gives one direction, and again, the emphasis here would be that it's not much that has to be done in order to get around the obstacle. When you start working through your intention, and if your intention is pure, and your will is strong, okay, your intention is pure, and your will is strong, that's your solution. Remember, love holds everything together. So the things that are working within the energy that is the antithesis of the original intention, which it's a love intention. Love holds it all together. We have the upper hand. You know, so we don't need to be looking for boogeymans because you'll find them. We just look within ourselves and we can find the answers, and it's our love intention and being confident that our will, and so that our will can be strong. Let's give everybody a hand. I mean, we are the answer. It's hard to get rid of it when you're kids. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it, people are brainwashed. They're hacking into your biofield. They're logging into you, and I watch kids going down the street, and they're just like this. They're oblivious to anything around them. They're just like this. When I was going to the chiropractor, you know, for my upper cervical instability, um, there was a young man sitting across from me in the waiting room, and he was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, maybe. And he was already coming in for issues with his neck because of this. And I was looking at him and I go, young man, I said, if you're going to look at your phone, do yourself a favor. Get in the habit of leaning back and holding it up like this. I know you want to do it like this because the arm gets tired. But you're in here for a reason, right? And that's the reason. And he just looked at me like, don't bother me, old man. I'm telling you what, it's not easy. It's those that know to do is the ones that do it, and we lead by example. You can't expect anybody to change around you. You can just be of service. And it's important to be of service and let go. Because for me, that's been a difficult thing because I just care for people so much. In past lives, I've sacrificed myself. I'm a little bit nutter. When it comes to my conviction's quite strong, I've learned not to do that. It's not been so easy in this incarnation to be able to love and then let go. Give all you can. And sometimes a good reason why I don't really like getting too close to people, this is a confession, because I just I cord too deeply, and it's hard on me, and especially if there's something that may happen in the relationship with that person, and they don't want to be able to communicate for whatever reasons. It just makes it difficult, and it becomes worse. So I kind of cut those things off because of that. It's hard here. You know, we don't do things perfectly here, do we? No, not at all. And it's tough, and we're always. No, I'm not going to go down that road any further. But it's important to stand in the gravity of your own shoes, and to love and let go. I find that's pretty much like my mantra internally. Just as a requirement. Yeah, I mean, I know it's the idea of reading books or whatever, but you got the head. When the head tilts, See, this goes back when I was 6 months old. My head feels like it's in a vice right now. I have pain all the time, okay, which affects my parasympathetic nervous system, which affects my heartbeat, yada, yada, yada. I have this all my life. I should be dead, okay, because this can kill you. It's one of the things I found out. And when I found out, I go, you think? Because of my symptoms and how bad it was. And it's better now, but it's it's still there. And it's not a laughing matter is what I'm saying. When it gets really, really, really bad, the head it's a bowling ball. And so tilting it like this creates more pressure. So you go from where you're at here, moving here, it's like 25 times more, or 25 pounds heavier than actually, because of the centrifugal pull. And more you're like this, the more that it's putting on that. And the weight becomes more and more. And so, like I said, seeing this kid, young, not a young man yet, but, and he's already having issues. So if he's having issues, look at the infants that are being exposed to this in this lifestyle. It's, I don't get scared, so I can't say it's scary for me, but it's heart wrenching. It translates into no words for me. It's just a feeling. If you look at my face, it kind of represents what I feel. So anyhow, does anybody want to talk about anything specifically? Just anything. Anything you want to talk about outside of what was being discussed. I think that's kind of overdid that. Blue light, yeah. Well, we're talking about frequency therapy, right? Light spectra. Or frequency spectra, because light, frequency, same thing. Yeah. Song. I have a song that I wrote 3 years ago called, actually, can I give you the story for this song? Because it's really cool. It's one of the songs that's going to be used within the upcoming event that my good friend Paul Garthwaite and his lovely wife Catherine are going to put on in June, the 1st of June actually. And this is one of the songs that's going to be performed there. And here's the backstory for this. I was sitting in pretty much like in this location where I'm at now. And I had one of my guitars and I had it tuned to a particular tuning. And I heard these lyrics that just dropped into me. And then I started playing. I think it happened kind of like at the same time I started playing this chordal movement on it, on the guitar. And it just dropped. And I recorded it. I don't even remember recording it. And the recording is really interesting because the recording was pure all the way through. It was like I just something moved in me, greater sense of myself or whatever moved in. I moved out, and I don't remember anything except for doing the video. Isn't that interesting? So it's called In the Fields of Emerald Green. And it's on my YouTube channel. It doesn't get very many views like most of my music, but here, let me just say this. My music changes things. I know that because when I was in ministry, that's what it did. The energy transmuted and transformed what was going on in the room, and that included healing people. So, be it that we're in a light and sound construct, does make more sense now, doesn't it? So, people overlook these things. They're looking for information. The information is in those things, much deeper than the information on the paper. And we all carry that. We don't have to look very far. We just need to be receptive. So I'm going to play that. And then I'll come back afterwards and we'll go ahead and close this out. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful song and great visual. Here we go.
So bright, and forever we may dream in the fields of emerald green. Greater beauty I'm yet to see, bound in love crystalline. These the fields of emerald green. Oh, how deep we feel. So to heal, warm flowing light, never so bright, and forever we may dream in the fields of emerald green. Greater beauty I'm yet to see, abounding love crystalline. These the fields of emerald green. Deep we feel, one so to heal, warm flowing light, never so bright, and forever we may dream in the fields of emerald green. Greater beauty I'm yet to see, bound in love crystal.
All right. Hope that you were uplifted by that song. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. It seems like everybody has kind of stopped engaging as well, anyhow. So this is a good time to end this. All right. So, folks, blessings to you. And like I said, if you're interested in the little summary in regard to what this stream was about, and initially what's in the title of the stream, you can find that in Patreon. I'm going to make that available, like I said, to the public. It's not going to be exclusive to members because I just would like it for it to be available to whoever who wishes to look into it and just be a voice to bring things to individuals' intention at this time. It's important that we all be working together in some way, in some form. So I will say this before I leave, though. For those that you may know of, within that have a small channel, that have a big channel, whatever, if you would like for me to do, I'll go ahead and prepare it, okay? And then, but I would like to hear any kind of response now, if you can. And after the stream, people comment. Please comment in the comment section that if I provide like a something that you can use to copy and paste to be able to email certain individuals about us coming together as a community, as a whole, the whole spiritual community, everybody, all these subdivisions, all these denominations, all right? Be able to come together and start working together with one another. We need to bring it to our attention, then we need to be reminded constantly, almost to the point of harassment, okay? Because people don't get it until you kind of bang it over their head, if you know what I mean. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. It takes a long time for people to catch on, even those that are aware, quote unquote. That includes myself. I have to renew my mind to the things that are, expedient. So that being said, I'll go ahead and put something together and then let me know. Start engaging. Let me know. Talk to me. Talk to me privately. Whatever the case is, let's get it rolling, okay? It's really important that we do this. Somebody's got to initiate it, and I guess that's me. So that's fine, as long as it gets done. So, all right, folks, blessings to you. We'll talk to you soon.